I'll call the regular meeting of the Irmo County Council to order, and I will recognize the Westminster Presbyterian Church Troop 330 to do our Pledge of Allegiance, and then Councilwoman Thomas will report.
Scout salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Our Father in heaven, we ask for blessings tonight in the form of wisdom and guidance so that we do the town's business in a way pleasing to you. We also ask especially tonight for your blessings on law enforcement and peace officers throughout the country, especially in our town, for Peace Officer Day. Give us your guidance, show us your mercy, and we ask this through your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Next item on the agenda is the reading of minutes for May 1st. Is there a motion for first reading or for approval?
So moved.
And the second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I couldn't find anything else.
All in favor of approving as written? Hold on, show of hands. Next item is the administrative briefing. Mr. Brown, is there anything you'd like to add to the briefing?
No, sir.
Any discussion from anyone or anything?
I need to ask one thing of Mr. Brent. The residence inn is coming right along, is that right?
You're looking at March 2013 beginning.
That's not that far off. Thank you.
And the other two things I want to add, one was the, well, three marks from here. Veterans Park water meter, was there a reason why we didn't do a well, look at a well, or is that water for, I'm saying drinking, because I know drinking water, you can't use a well or something like that, or when the water just not be feasible in that place.
I'm going to have to defer Mr. Klein or Jake, or however we determined that that was the best course to build a well up there. I think part of that was cost, because they are on a budget, and they got a $50,000 grant, and Jake had already planned with Mr. Gurman how they were going to build a gazebo. And we know a well costs about $22,000, and the meter is only $6,000. I'm sure that had to play, but I don't know for sure without Mr. Moore being here to answer, or Mr. Klein knows more about it.
The meter's 6,000, but the water bill's only what, about 6,000 a year?
I hope not.
No, not that far. But I did raise the issue about drinking water, and there will be drinking fountains there. So we had to have metered water for that.
You can't drink well water?
And I know at one time there was a discussion about meters, and we had to approve them because they were on our
Drink it all the
budget.
time.
But I know we didn't approve this one.
Yes, we
Because
did.
we did that.
Yes, sir.
It was a couple meetings ago.
Okay.
Other two things, on that electronic recycling, I think you mentioned in there was cost. Could do that like advance one?
Well, I talked to Shred 360 and talked to them in advance, and they have to pay to get rid of the stuff. Big TVs, microwaves, things like that. So there would have to be a charge to us, so they can pay their charge, because they won't do it for free.
Okay.
Landfills just won't accept it anymore.
Right.
So there is a charge for all that stuff. That's why you don't see as much anymore, even though Lake County does it traditionally once a year.
Okay.
So,
Do we have an idea of what that cost will be?
well, he gave me a rough idea for like TVs are like $10 a piece, computer monitors are like $8 a piece. I mean, those are the two he gave me.
$8 a piece?
Yes. To take to the landfill.
Can't you get a deal with China somewhere and say, hey, you should get container ship for all this stuff?
And that's just dealing with our landfill. I don't know, maybe we went Kershaw County or something. I mean, I'd have to look at it in depth to see if there was some of the.
They charge $10 a piece for an old TV that don't work.
And $8 for a computer monitor, the old CRT monitors.
And the other alternative is, if you live in Richmond, take it out Monticello Road, and if you live in Lexington, you have to take it over here to Bushwick. If, I guess they'll take it over there, I don't know.
They have special days a year that they will accept them. You can't just take it over every Wednesday, Friday when they're done with something.
That may be something we need to look at, because I don't know what people do with their stuff now.
Yeah, throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
Put it
Probably
back.
some of the alternative is dump it where you can, or I've heard some people say that the apartment complex, that people can call dumping stuff over there, not move the TVs or that. Easier to get there than it is to go to Bush River Road.
I mean, we could look at Hallway one if we wanted. I mean, we would have to absorb this cost, depending on what that turns into. That's going to get that still.
I have a question, Bob.
Sir.
I read in the paper where Advanced Disposal provided some type of vacuum truck for Richland County once, maybe once a year. I don't know what that cost, or the negotiated price was, but I did not know that could be a viable option.
They haven't really leave, and I don't have a clue what it costs. Not that answer if you want. For the big lead times a year, you mean?
Right, yes.
Okay. I'll find out.
Any other questions of the administrator?
Yeah, the changing of the SIP code to the NAICS coding system,
Still working on it.
6 to 8 months from now, or?
No, we started that approximately 3 weeks ago, almost 4 weeks ago. Planning Commission just looked at it and approved it last month.
Mhm.
And so we have to get a whole database prepared before we get that converted. We have to do all the work, identify all of our businesses in town. We have a certain code that we've designated those businesses, and we have to put the new code based on the NAICS system on there. But we can convert our ordinance and change any of our laws. We have to do all that in a spreadsheet first, and it's time consuming because we have close to 900 businesses in town. That's a lot of them to go change the codes, and well, that's the reason we're doing this anyway, because we have one code for like 6 businesses, and the NAICS will give every business their own code based on what it is. That's a big change.
Amendments to the agenda. I was going to make a suggestion, and you can do it or not do it, but I noticed under new business ABCD, we got item B, first reading of for the stamp fee, and item D is the moratorium. And just in my thinking, I'd rather vote on the moratorium first before we did the stamp, so that if we were going to have the moratorium, then we could decide on whether we're going to license them or not, you know, the ones already in town. If we vote on the stamp fee first, we may vote yea for that or nay. But my suggestion would be to take D first in place of B, and then move B to C and then C to D. And that's what I make an amendment to the agenda for, and make a motion for that. If we agree, fine, and not on two.
Okay, go over that one more time.
Is take item D,
Uh-huh.
which is the temporary moratorium, and put it in item D. And then
Why not just take D out of order?
well, and then you'd put B and C down, and I was just gonna slide them down one. And that's why I was just doing it there, since we had it on there,
Okay.
is to move them down in that order, so we could discuss that temporary moratorium first.
Talk about it together, to be honest with you, because really, one really affects the same.
Yeah, but right now we got them on there as two, so.
I'm hoping that the first one passes, and the second one doesn't, so. I mean, I don't have a problem with doing it either way. You wanna take them out of order, let's do that. Let's put them together.
Well, I mean, I don't think we can put them together, since they're two different things.
They're two separate ordinances, we have to vote on
Okay.
separately.
Okay, take D,
And make it B,
uh-huh,
and then move B to C and C to D.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do that, then if you have a moratorium, then there's no reason to talk about,
Well, you still got the ones left over in town.
oh, okay.
You still got those to decide, whether we license them, or fine them, or fee them, or not do anything.
Okay.
So that would be my motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And, any discussion? And all in favor? Was it
Close.
4-1? Okay. And, any other amendments to the agenda? Receipt of communications. Anyone have any receipt of communications?
Yes. City of Columbia has announced that they're gonna be increasing their water rates again, sewer rates. I don't know what their new number's gonna be and when it's gonna take effect, but we need to do something to help our citizens out. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. I'm not sure, Mr. Moore's representative, if the old taxation without representation plays here. But they're taking money from the water fund and putting it into the general operating fund, which says to me that our citizens are paying for the actual running of the city of Columbia in the sense that we're being taxed. And they're claiming it's not a tax, it's a service, and if it's not a service, if it is a service, then this is a business in our town that's operating a business, and they can do whatever they want to do with it. But, you know, we gotta do something. It's get to the point now where my water bill for me and my wife and the dog is almost $150 a month, and that's ridiculous. We're not there. We're there very little at the time. Granted, my wife does wash a lot of clothes, but not $150 worth, I believe. Now, I don't know who else is in the same situation. I'm sure there are other scenarios, people, you know, spring is here, people watering grasses and stuff like that. The water bills jump sky high because they're doing that. But again, the city of Columbia is taking advantage of our citizens and taking advantage of us. And we as a council, I think we need to do something. What it is, I'm not sure yet, but we need to aggressively look at either putting a class action lawsuit together for them to stop raiding the water fund, to supply their general fund, or have them do something. You know, I don't know what. That's what I'm relying on you to do.
We probably wouldn't have standing, would we, Brooke?
That is a good question. I don't know. I mean, I'll talk to Jake about that. He's actually on his way, and I'll be happy to brief the issue for y'all if you want me to. But off the top of my head, I simply don't know.
I have another idea. When I was campaigning, one of the many times, there's a constituent in Archer's Court who told me that there is, if we can find the original loan papers when the town of Irmo created that facility or created the waterworks, if it was a certain type of federal loan, like farm something, then we could never be charged anything above a base rate if that's the loan we originate. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not. I mentioned it to Mr. Cobb the other day.
Well, I don't know if it's on our stuff, but I think from what I understand, if we had a water department and it was owned by the town of Irmo, we cannot take money out of that account and put it in another account because of the loan that we got to get all the equipment that we bought. I think it's a federal loan of some sort. But from my understanding with the city of Columbia, that doesn't apply because the city of Columbia
I wouldn't believe them.
actually doesn't own the water company. It's actually a separate entity owned by itself, which that entity is owned by the city of Columbia. So they've got around it.
They may have
Well, good. That means it's a business.
this, but this man,
But because it's business, whoever owns the business can take whatever profit out of it they want to.
That's fine. If it's a business, they need to pay a business license to the town owner. Doing business in our town.
But they're not doing business in our town.
What do you mean they're not doing business? The last time I paid my bill, they were.
You know, we do business with the city of Columbia. They don't do business with the town of Irmo. As a resident, I get my water from them, or I cannot get my water from them. But
I got 13,000 people in town of Irmo that says they do business with the city of Columbia.
they do, individually they do, but the town doesn't. So since they don't do business with the town within that, then they don't need a business license.
Does
You
the
know,
town not pay your water bill?
Yeah.
And we do business with it.
Yeah, as a consumer, but not as, if they don't do it with us as a licensed business. I don't know.
I think that's Mr. Walker's point, that they should be a licensed business.
I think too, and I don't know, and I think you might have told me, or somebody else might have told me, on that 3% water, when we were talking to, the business down the road down there, that franchise fee,
About the franchise,
that we don't get none of that from them,
we don't get a franchise fee in the city of
from
Columbia.
City of Columbia,
No.
because,
We get from anytime we want to get Carolina. Utility people, and you would think water is utility, it's not regulated under some other, not utility.
I
but
still
that would be
think,
their business
well,
license, then they had to
this
pay.
whole thing. Because the man who told me is a former mayor of a small town and used this effectively.
Yeah, and I think it might be Myrtle Beach maybe, or
In
something.
North Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
And I just think it's something we ought to look into, if it exists, and if it says that the people who originated the plan cannot be charged anything higher, I just think we ought to look at it.
Well, our attorney extraordinaire has just walked in.
I do apologize, but the judge had other plans for me this evening.
No apology necessary, counsel, but, we want you to solve the water problem.
Right.
Kathy, when my father, Mayor Irmo,
Uh-huh.
back in those days, Irmo, everybody had wells and they were running dry. The water quality was not good. He got the town to build the water, and we had water. Those wells were running dry. So what happened is he met with the City of Columbia mayor at that time, and as far as I know, it was a gentleman's agreement that the City of Columbia would provide water to Irmo residents forever. But the cost was never involved. I mean, people are so thankful to have clean drinking water, and it is top quality water.
Yeah, well, it is.
So,
Would your daddy know anything about the lump?
sure you would.
I think we ought to look into it. It may be nothing, but what if it is? I mean,
Well, I think too, because if I remember what, I think probably Sue Gentleman said was that, like City of Columbia, if they had a federal grant or whatever it was to buy equipment, then they could not sell water outside of town for a higher rate than they sold it inside.
that's what I believe. That would be the gist of it.
But since they're a
Mhm.
privately owned thing and they're not owned by the city, it doesn't apply to them. That's how they got.
What's privately owned? Would you say it's privately?
Well, they set up a corporation.
Okay, well, if a corporation is privately owned and they're selling water to all these entities, they're a business.
They are business, but
Then
they're
they need
not.
to be paying a business license to the town.
But, well, and that may be a different story.
That's a different story.
Yeah, maybe they should, I don't know.
So they're not a public utility?
No, they're not. That's why, that's the whole
Yeah.
reason why they can jack the water rate up when they want to and
I
raise
mean,
the
they can,
fund and all that
because
stuff.
that entity is owned by the city of Columbia. They're the owner, so to speak. Then they can take all the profit out if they want to, and run it dry, and then turn around and charge higher rates if they want to.
Well, they do that.
Maintain.
I just think.
I can help you. I sued the city of Columbia back during a time when you and I remember very well.
Very well, Jake.
There was a gentleman who lived in Quail Valley who was a tremendous help to us in the annexation battles, which several people were very helpful in trying to stop what was an illegal annexation in our area. We sued the city of Columbia, taking the position that it was discriminatory for them to charge an out-of-city rate, which is higher than the in-city rate. And the Supreme Court pointed to a specific state statute which says that if they serve out of their area, they may charge up to twice as much as the in-city rate. So you have a situation where the code specifically allows for discrimination. The theory being that if
the city is going to make the investment, it has a right to recoup more on its investment from business customers than government customers. We have attempted in the past, Jake Knott's, every single legislative session has introduced a statute to place municipalities under the control of the Public Service Commission. Jake has been supported in several people, Ronnie Cromer, and various others who have attempted to pass a bill which would place the delivery of water services under the PSC. There is a specific code section which exempts municipalities operating inside or outside of their corporate boundaries from control of PSC. So they do not have to justify their rates to anybody. The only limitation which is set upon them is by virtue of the fact that they cannot charge us more than twice what they charge somebody inside. So I guess if they gouge their own citizens, they can doubly gouge us. Whether they're gouging or not, I don't know. I know I have people who complain about water rates. Other people say we got the greatest water in the world, which from what I understand, we do have some of the best water in the entire country, quality-wise. So they do a good job delivering it, even if we pay through the nose for it. The question then becomes, okay, if they are basically ripping us off, how can we get unripped to the extent possible? There is a belief that when they do business outside of their corporate limits, they function as any other business or any other utility. That being the case, the town could consider a franchise fee. The problem with the franchise fee is that it is added on to the bill and just passed on. The city of Columbia would not care if you charged them a franchise fee, because all they would do is charge our citizens the fee, and we would in effect be taking the money not from them but from us. That doesn't help solve the problem, and it's certainly not something any of y'all would be wanting to think about. The only other option would be the option of a business license, which is an interesting concept. If they are actually functioning as a business in the town, a business license is not passed on. From what I understand, the business license is actually paid by the business. Now, I haven't done significant research into the question of whether or not we can charge them a business license. One thing we do know is that we charge people who have their businesses outside of town for the business they do inside of town. So what would be the difference between charging them that way? Now, I'm not meaning to talk out of school, but there's been some reassessments of some properties out on Highway number 6, which is an interesting development. But by them assessing that property as commercial property, that is to me a reaffirmation that they are in a commercial business. And if they are functioning in that capacity, it would certainly seem that a legitimate argument can be made that they are subject to a business license fee. With the amount of money they're taking out of the town, we can't, I guess we could take the money, the business license, and rebate it to our people if we really wanted to. And maybe you could make it equal to twice, half as much as what they charge. I don't know how you would set it. I would, if you're interested in us looking at the question, we can certainly do that. And I'll tell Mr. Beaver right now to make a note that we have this research done as soon as possible. But quite frankly, having personally written the brief and personally argued the brief, it's Capatera was the man's name, Capatera versus the City of Columbia. And the Supreme Court basically said I was full of hooey and no. So the Supreme Court has ruled. As you may recall, they were in the business of some really funny rulings back then. It seemed like nothing we said, I could say the sky's blue, and it would have been, no, it's not. I wrote that brief myself and argued that brief in the Supreme Court about the arbitrary nature of the amounts we were being charged, and it didn't go very far. We never approached it from a standpoint of can we charge a business license? And I can research the question. It may take a little bit more than a normal turnaround time on that. But you also have the political question in regard to, okay, if we go to them and say, you're going to pay a business license fee, what is the political kickback going to be? What's the pushback going to be? You will not make them happy if you do that.
No. And they could deny water if they wanted to, and you said, well, we won't charge it.
Well, that's an
We
interesting
won't get the
question
license
too.
and we won't charge it.
That is an interesting point. Could they turn it off?
Yeah, but Dad, Paul, you said your dad, with a gentleman's agreement, said that they would provide water for us forever.
Yeah.
Was there anything written, was there any documents or anything like that written to do that?
No.
I talked to Mr. Younger. I had breakfast with him Sunday, and he was telling me about the way the whole thing came down. And he basically says that's what the agreement was, that they would give permanent serving.
But they also provide water to the northeast and the southeast.
I'm not worried about them, I'm worried about.
They're piping it through our.
They're not gonna be able to give us a better rate if they don't give them a better rate.
They let them get their own council, let them fight their battle, okay? I'm worried about Irmo, South Carolina.
Well,
I believe that's worth looking into, Jake.
we could look into it, but I think at the same time, Lexington County, I think, is the one who assessed that value, that
They
property.
did have a fee administrator there.
Yeah, they did that to kind of see how much property they had on the books that wasn't paying. And at the same time, as far as business license, and I'm sure you do the same thing, I mean, any fee that anybody has in business gets built into the price of whatever they do. It's paid by the consumer in the end anyhow. So
The only problem
we charge them a license, it's gonna go up on the rate to our consumers.
The only problem is they probably, and this is where they get hung. They probably can't, because they're already setting the rate at twice their in-city rate, and they're barred by statute from going any higher. So they can't pass it along because they're already getting all they can get. That one can't be passed along. The problem becomes if you decide to play that card in regard to charging them a fee, where is the pushback coming? Because you can bet you're not going to make them happy. What happens if suddenly they come in and tell you, we're not going to supply you with water anymore? At that point in time, do we condemn the water plant? You're playing some Mexican sweat. Now, the good news is that, I think the good news is that relationships between the town and the city have significantly improved. We've got a mayor down there who appears to have some sense. We've got a city manager who's about as nice a guy as you could ever ask for. I'm not certain that it makes sense for us to be throwing down the gauntlet in regard to reopening old wounds. On the other hand, the wounds seem to come every month when people like Elmer Anko gets a water bill. That is not something that I appreciate. That sort of gouging is something which appears to me to be.
But is their rates any higher than Lexington or Casey's or?
Lexington has its own water.
I see the problem we have. Again, I can talk to you about water. The problem we have in in this county is the delivery of water systems. You have Casey Water, West Columbia Water, Joint Water and Sewer Authority, you have Carolina Water, you have the City of Columbia, and there's got to be somebody else.
Richland County, I think. does
Richland
part of
County,
it.
it's a mess in regard to who's delivering what for what kind of charge. You know, when I talked to Mr. Younger about how it happened, it was clearly the right thing to do at that particular point in time. It still might be the right thing to do. Whatever it is, I think we're pretty much, it is what it is. And how we go about dealing with it is probably a political issue before it becomes a legal issue.
From the civil side, being more civilly minded here, could we enter into some type of negotiation? I'm not sure about the statute that says that they are limited to 2 times their local rate. Does it say that they must charge 2 times their local rate?
No.
Or could we negotiate a lesser percentage because they're piping this through our town?
Right. Here's now you're into an awful lot of gray area, okay? The question that you present is whether we can negotiate a discriminatory rate in favor of the citizens of the town, and the answer is, I don't know. If we are able to find commercially justifiable reason for such a discrimination, we might be able to get away with that. We might be able to pull that off. Even if you're not, if there was some form of friendly discussions with them as to, okay, you're doing this, how can we find an accommodation? You know, you might be able to find a way that as a group, with a friendly discussion, without us saying, okay, we're going to charge you a franchise fee or a business license or condemn your water lines or whatever. I respectfully submit that the best way to start this would be to put together a delegation of a couple of council members, probably without me. I mean, I'm still, thanks to some of my friends, I'm still not giving the warmest receptions in the city of Columbia. They know I'm here. You know, I'm still not public citizen #1 as far as the city of Columbia is concerned. But, you know, you get Hardy and Barry to go down and meet with the mayor and have a friendly discussion over maybe breakfast or just a meeting, and maybe Steve Gant is a friend.
He's on his way out.
Yeah, but he still carries a lot of weight down there, and people are going to listen to him, and he's a friend of Irmo. He's somebody, you know, I called him up the other day trying to get a water meter set, and he had it out there the next day. You couldn't ask for any nicer than that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I appreciated him doing that. I mean, you know, Steve Gant is a very rational, nice, decent person, and so was the mayor. I mean, you don't have what we used to have down there. I mean, talking to that last crowd was like talking to this wall. I think that you would find somebody who would at least listen to you. I may be wrong. Barry knows him. Don't you know him well, Barry?
No.
I don't know. I know Leona well. Leona's a good friend. And Steve would be a good friend.
I just think we may get further along with some type of cooperation as opposed to an arbitrary line in the sand to start with.
I don't see why you don't start with a friendly discussion. Sounds that way to me. I mean, you know, we've done things to help them too recently. They've needed our help on a few things that we've been willing to accommodate. I I would, you said you wanted my answer on water, I didn't mean to get into this dissertation, I apologize, it wasn't my place to.
Any other received communications or any other?
Yeah, the other thing is, the town website still doesn't work. I don't know what the problem is, but I think we need to go ahead and just get another vendor or another website administrator or whatever, another website provider in there. But this is gonna be a joke, because I'm going to the town website as we speak. When it comes up, if it comes up.
Is it not working, Bob, or?
It's been working, first I heard that.
Yeah, I'm there
I
now.
don't mean to blindside you, but it'd be in here.
I hadn't had any problems with it.
Go to council meeting, well, I don't know, go to town council or go to council meetings,
Okay,
if you can.
I'm there.
You got council meetings?
Yes.
Okay, well, something's wrong with my iPad. My expensive ass.
Yeah.
iPad.
Got your beautiful picture here too.
No, I didn't say council, that's town council. I'm trying to go to council meetings.
Oh,
Alright.
okay.
Click on town council and council meetings comes up. And you click on town council meeting, that should push you to another screen.
No, it's not going.
Yeah, well, we click on that, it's supposed to tip to the right.
I see.
And they ain't doing it.
Yeah.
So here, there isn't working.
Well, it's not working on mine.
No, it's not. When you click on town council meetings, nothing happens. It looks like it wants to happen, but it doesn't.
I bet they're using flash drive to pull some of it up, and iPads and iPhones don't like flash drive, but that can easily be corrected.
So you can check ours, you can check it on your computer tonight and see
The
what's
desktop is fine,
actually.
desktop is fine, because I was listening to it today, so, I mean, but like Harvey said, something to do with this, with the iPad, the type of memory it uses.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll find out.
Any other received communication? We have none. It's now time for presentation by citizens, and this is the time where citizens can speak to us on things that are actually on the agenda. And I think two people have signed up, Elmer Danko, and it looks like E and F.
Thank you, Mayor King, for recognizing me. Honorable Mayor King and members of Irmo Town Council, I wish to share with you my concerns and comments pertaining to items E and F under new business on tonight's agenda. Can I proceed?
Yes.
Thank you. The first item I wish to touch base with you on is item E pertaining to unsightly and unsanitary properties. The unsightly and unsanitary properties are a result of attitude and behavior on the part of residents, being renters, resident owners, or landlords. Community-wide neglected properties are not due to senior citizens being unable to care for their properties. Where is code enforcement to see that the residential codes are being enforced to rid the neighborhoods of these eyesores? The town codes can only be enforced by town government. To have a wholesome community, both the business as well as the residential properties of the town must be maintained in order to have what we want is a beautiful community. When a business person seeks information to available properties within the town, he or she is looking for a well-maintained area to locate his or her business. Likewise, when a resident comes into town to seek a place to live and raise his or her family, he or she is looking for a well-maintained neighborhood, be it either a new or older neighborhood. Again, the town wrote the codes to keep all properties, both business and residential, within the town to be well maintained at all times. The only way this can happen as if the town enforces all of its codes. Establish a code enforcement program with a code enforcement person responsible to see that all codes within the town are enforced. That concludes my thoughts on item E, unsightly and unsanitary properties. The other issue I wish to touch base on pertains to the speed bumps that are up for discussion on Finsbury Road. The consideration for speed bumps on Finsbury Road is the result of speeding on the roadway, which due to its topography has a 25 and 20 mile an hour speed limit on the roadway, which also happens to be a designated state roadway. I am surprised to hear that DOT would approve speed bumps as previously they were frowned on by DOT. I am opposed to speed bumps on Finsbury Road. The only solution to stop speeding on problems on Finsbury Road will be resolved with constant visibility of the Irmo Police Department on the roadway. Presently, there is very little visibility of the Irmo Police Department on Finsbury Road, or as far as I'm concerned, any other roadway in the subdivision. Children walk to school. Children have to walk on Finsbury Road to board the school buses which travel Finsbury Road to transport the children to and from school on a daily basis. I would mention that only a part of Finsbury Road has sidewalks for the children to use in their commute to the school bus stops and back home. If the Irmo Police Department does not have the time needed to patrol Finsbury Road to stop speeding on the roadway, the town and the Irmo Police Department should consider requesting help from the State Highway Patrol to patrol Finsbury Road, since Finsbury Road is designated as a state highway. I thank you for your time and attention to my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Ms. Olear and item F.
Thank you very much. My name is Sandy Olear. I am the president of the Coatesville Homeowners Association. And like Elmer, I am speaking up for the residents of our subdivision. We are also opposed to the speed bumps on Finsbury. I think it was tried once before and it did not pass. Like he said, like Elmer said, we would prefer that we have more patrols in our neighborhood. Like, I'm just going to exactly repeat what Elmer said, because we feel, a lot of our residents feel that there is not enough patrols in our neighborhood. And we do have a lot of children in our neighborhood. We, as a matter of fact, just had a couple of break-ins in our neighborhood recently. And we just feel we don't have enough patrols in our neighborhood, and that's what we feel we need. And we thank you very much.
Thank you. No one else has signed up, but would anyone else like to speak at this time on anything that's on the agenda tonight? Seeing none. Next item on the agenda is under unfinished business. Second reading of an ordinance 1202. I'll refer to it as an abatement notice. And what that was, for the people out there who may not know, we had put an ordinance on a while back that was to change our way we do abatement notices, as far as put them on the door and that kind of stuff, and time notices and all like that. We had deferred it, if I remember correctly, until a later date. And so we got it back on the agenda now, so we can either vote it up or vote it down, to kind of clear up our book. So is there a motion for second reading?
So,
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? And I'll recognize, since you made the motion, I'll recognize Councilman Walker first and then I'll give him a second.
This baby notices go on doors and stuff like that. I mean, is there a problem with that? Or what's the issue?
And I think right now, if I remember correctly, if code enforcement goes, they stick one on the door and they give them 10 days to rectify the problem, is that right?
And they have to,
And you just put it on the door, and if they don't rectify it in 10 days, then we go back and write them a court ticket. And then they got so many days to fix it, or we just go to court.
correct.
Okay. And I think at the time we were gonna look at changing that, maybe I think is what we
Well,
were.
the ordinance was actually to eliminate it,
Eliminate, okay. And get rid of it altogether, instead of doing it back.
and we decided we would prefer to keep it.
So we can either
Because
vote
what
for it or
else
vote it
could we
down.
do? What else? Is there another option?
Change it to a 3-day or
You could
7-day
just
or
write a
5-day or
citation, right?
Or
or
is that a
something
10-day?
instead of 10.
Okay.
Give them a shorter period, but I think, and I don't know, but I would think, based on what I understand, is if we write up a ticket to go to court, the first thing the judge will ask is, did y'all give them
Okay.
a notice and let them have some time to do it? If we didn't, then, so this kind of gives them that opportunity to at least have a freebie to get it fixed, and if they don't, then we write up a ticket. We could change it from 10 days to a lesser time, but, or we could just vote this down, and then we're back to where we are with the 10 day. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Excuse me, Paul, you,
No, I think that's what I understand too, is that we just need to take action and clean this up.
Change the
Leave it
number of
alone.
days? Change the number of days or what?
We were gonna
We will kill
leave
it.
it alone.
Leave it alone.
so if we vote for it, we're
Okay.
gonna kill it. If we don't vote for it, we'll kill this ordinance and we'll go back to what we already got, which is a 10-day abatement.
All right.
So if you don't want it, then don't vote for it.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So all in favor of
I'm ready.
changing the abatement notice and getting rid of it, raise your hand. And all opposed?
Oh, this is wonderful. We all understood what was supposed to. This is good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We got it.
Kind of the same thing on this one here. Second reading of the original ordinance on real property registration 1207. Is there, and if we don't want to approve this one, we can not even vote for it. And it can just die.
Is
This
this
is the first.
the first one?
This is the one that Bob and company involved. What,
No, this is the very first one here, that was
Yeah.
issued by you and Jake. And we've changed it significantly since here.
This is the first one that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the back, on the last
Correct.
page? I
Yeah.
kind of like that one.
But we can make a motion and you can make a motion
No,
now. But is there a motion for second reading on this?
The other one is,
You don't need, you don't have to say, I mean, you can make a motion, but if there's no motion made, it dies.
Right.
we
We're
got
gonna address it at
So is there a motion for second reading of ordinance 1207?
So,
And is there a second?
I'll second it.
If you don't want to, you don't have to, and it'll just die for lack of second.
Well, I'll take that back.
So, no second. So the motion will die for lack of second.
Do you want to talk about
I did, but I think it's not.
Well, we'll have it
it? You
again,
want to talk
'cause
about it, I'll second.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
New business, first reading of ordinance 1210. And this has to do with our operating budget, capital budget. So is there a motion for first reading of our budget?
So moved.
And second,
Second.
any discussion?
Well, I just think that we need to explain to the public that our budget takes 3 readings in order to become effective. And this is the first reading. We will, just wording here. Bob, we don't have the actual amount on and that represents a negative 2.11% from from the year that we're in now, and it will continue at 0 mills taxes on property in the town of Irmo.
So we're voting on $4,466,000, that figure, right?
Right.
Okay, got it.
Any other discussion? The other thing I'd like to add, I think council did a good job. I think Bob, our county administrator, did a good job too of compiling this stuff together. The only thing on the record I would say, just for the people, the public to know as well, we are taking a small amount from our reserves, about 12,987, so approximately 13,000. I would suspect by the end of the year, we won't actually have, because our budget that we anticipate on the revenue is kind of the best guess. Normally, the last couple of years, we always get a little bit more than we thought. We try to anticipate our revenues a little bit lower, so that when they come in a little bit higher, then we're better off. And anticipate our expenses a little bit high, so when they come in a little bit lower, then we're better off. And I think the last couple of years, we still had a deficit anticipated when we did budget of maybe 100,000 or in some larger number. The economy is getting better, our revenues are up a little bit, but we still do have a minor deficit by the end of the year, though. I don't think we will have that. Hopefully we won't. The last couple of years, as far as I remember, every year we've always had more surplus than what we anticipated, or less deficit than what we anticipated, but it's always been better. And I would hopefully anticipate the same thing. One thing I would ask is as a council member, is that when we get it next time, could we put the like the budget workshop thing with all the stuff in there? Because I like to have a copy of that, and just kind of, that gives me more detail than this. But, and there was one other thing I wanted to, and I can't remember now what it is, but I'll think of it sometime. Any other comments from anyone, or questions, or? And I think just for people in the audience too, this does have our new garbage rate anticipated into it and everything too, which also helped to eliminate a deficit in our sanitation part of our budget. All in favor of the budget for $4,466,492 for the town of Irmo for the fiscal year 2012-2013? Do so with show of hands. And now, we're going, since we're taking this out of order, we're actually doing item D next, which is the ordinance for the moratorium. Is there a motion for first reading of ordinance 1213, which is the temporary moratorium?
So moved.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? I'll recognize Councilwoman Conlon first, and then Councilman Harvey who's second.
Okay, this is illegal.
No, it's
The
not.
machine,
No, it's
yes, question.
Let's say it's illegal.
That's what they told me.
not. No, it's not.
But
If it's illegal, then they need to go and take in the rest of people's garbage and machine business. We don't do that. It's not illegal.
Okay, what is it?
We need to get our cut.
Oh.
Bottom line,
Well,
it's not
Okay,
illegal.
we do that. Okay, if we say, okay, we want X amount of dollars to operate this business, aren't we saying, we think it's legal, just give us our cut? Aren't we saying that?
No, we're not. We're just saying, if you want to have those machines in the town of Irmo until the Supreme Court, like they did, 10 years ago, said to all the video poker players, they're illegal, take them out of our state, and then SLED went and rounded up everybody that had them and threw them in the back with U-Haul and took him over to Georgia and said, if you caught you with him again, you're gonna throw you in jail, then that's illegal. But they're not saying that. And until they say that, until they have people rounding up doing that, then I think the town of Irmo should get their cut. And, when I say get their cut, charge a fee, that $500 licensing fee, or whatever it is, sweepstakes machine fee, and make them pay for it. If they wanna have 10 machines, hey, $5,000, you can have it. If you don't make a dime, we don't care, but you were paying that fee to the town of Irmo to do it.
Okay, we can't do both?
Yeah, you can do both. Now, this one that we're on right now is a temporary moratorium, which means that would only apply to any new people that come into town. All the ones that are already here would still be able to keep theirs. So we can put a moratorium on there and not allow anybody else, but the ones that are here, we still keep them. And then when we get to the other one, then we decide we want to charge them a fee or whatever.
Okay, when is this gonna be decided? We don't know. The legislature's gotta do it, right?
You mean as far as being legal or not?
Well, it's illegal.
Well,
That's what I want. Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna decide this?
somebody in court would have to. I mean, the legislature can say what they want to, if I'm correct, they can still do it and say, take me to court, and somebody there fight it out. But, I mean, the moratorium's been going on in North Carolina for how many years, and they ain't said it, so I don't know. I would agree with temporary moratorium to keep any new ones from coming in until it's decided.
Somebody decides.
But the ones that are already here, I would agree with making them take them out, by banning them. And then as far as the fee, the only thing I would, and we can get to that one, is I don't want to charge somebody $500 for a pinball machine. Or a
Well, we could be slicing
but I would agree to do a moratorium to keep anybody else from putting any more in here.
Why? It's not causing any harm.
Well,
That
that could be argued too, whether it's causing harm or not.
What harm is it causing?
I don't know. Somebody
It's
might
not.
say, I hope they
It's
take on that
exactly-
thing and lose, I don't know.
They're not losing anything. They're not causing any death and destruction. It's
If
not
they're
causing any.
playing them, they gotta be losing something, because I guarantee they ain't winning.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you go, you put your money in there and you get a little video card back and you can buy phone time. You can go to the website and get Chi dolls or something. I don't know. Whatever. But I'm saying if that's what they want to do. That's their money. That's what people want to do with their money.
What would we do without you to investigate?
Well, see, here's.
You're right. I'm glad you
I'm
did.
saying here's the thing. Everybody says it's illegal, but I see them all over the place. Not only in Irmo, I see them at convenience stores in West Columbia, and people are playing away. And I'm saying if they're so illegal, then why is SLED not going around and arresting people and taking them all to jail, like they did with the video poker machines?
That's right.
They came by and said you had until day whatever to get them out of the state, and if you didn't have them out, the next day they were around with a truck and confiscating those machines and taking people to jail. They're not doing that with these machines. That's why I say if they're so illegal, why is SLED not doing it? Well, the reason why SLED's not doing it is because they don't know if it's illegal or not. And so if it's not illegal, then why not make the people pay and have it in our town?
Well,
If they don't want to pay, then don't put them in our town.
like you just said, they don't know if they're illegal or not. They don't know if they're illegal, they don't know if they're legal, they just don't know. I mean,
Right,
they've
so
been
while they
trying-
make that issue, pay up.
Well, that's fine.
And if you don't want to pay up, don't bring them into town or Irmo.
But I think under this one right here, we're just looking at this, whether we're gonna allow more or
Right,
not.
well, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's what's saying, the moratorium, I'm against that because, like I said, if somebody's crazy enough to open up a sweepstakes parlor, if you will, and put 10 of these machines in there, and they want to pay Irmo $500 a piece, $5,000 to put these machines in there, then let them. I don't think they're going to make any money off of that. I know that I won't be in there playing, but that's my choice. That's the citizens of Irmo's choice. Let them gamble and see if they're getting any hits. If they don't, then they just paid us $5,000 to take a gamble. Meantime, what have we lost? Not a thing.
Well,
What have we lost? Not a
another
thing.
thing I would say is that if if it is gambling, and you open up a 24-hour, whatever you want to call it. And, you know, how many people are going to go in there and cause whatever trouble in the town while they're here in that place, gambling, losing money?
Well,
They're going out and robbing the 7-Eleven on the way out to get money before they go home,
Well,
and get gas to get out of there.
We had the same
That's the
situation
whole-
with the bingo
bingo.
hall. Bingo guy said, look, let me get in before we had that smoking ban changed. Let me get in here and open up my bingo parlors. I'm gonna make $1 million, because Irmo allows smoking still, at the time, in our public places, okay? Well, the guy got in here, he opened up his bingo parlor right under the radar. We lasted about 2 months, 3 months,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't think he made $1, but he got in and invested all that money. So how did Irmo lose out on that? Not a dime. We didn't lose a dime. He might have lost a couple dollars, but we didn't lose a dime. Same situation. Somebody wants to open up a sweepstakes parlor. So what? Let them open up one. As long as they got a tag on each one of the machines, saying that they paid a $500 fee to the town of Irmo to have that machine, let them do it. And then when the Supreme Court or whoever takes them to court goes to trial and they say, these machines are illegal, get them out the state, then Slade comes in there with a U-Haul and starts rounding people up to take them out, then at that point, they take them out. But we're not gonna give them a rebate on their $500.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you, I will, in the sight of consistency, I would vote against a moratorium. I remember the days when we wanted to have a moratorium against restaurants that had a drive-up window, simply because somebody didn't want it close to the road that entered into their subdivision. That's discriminatory. If it is in fact illegal, prosecute it. If it's not, get off of it. We've got this group saying it's illegal, this judge saying it's not illegal, this judge saying it is. Make a case, let's hear it, and come to a finite decision. But I'm not willing to discriminate against somebody because of an innuendo or an opinion that they're not willing to step up to the plate and defend. If it is illegal, make the case, take it to court, arrest them, charge the fine, let them out on bond, but have a judge and a jury, if they so elect to have a jury, make the decision. But I'm not willing to discriminate against them because one group feels that it's illegal.
Anyone else?
I did a little searching on the internet. I noticed, take it for what it's worth, but it's just all over the board about where it's legal or illegal. And no one's doing any prosecuting. It's just no one knows. And what happens after the end of 6 months anyway?
We vote on this again.
Yeah, I think the only thing would be, if we don't do the temporary moratorium, and we license them, so to speak, or whatever we call that, then, I would say, every Tom, Dick, and Harry that may want one, may decide, oh, go to Irmo, because they didn't do whatever they'll let you have. If we do the moratorium, then you just postpone it for 6 months, and that's it, then you start back over the whole issue again.
We had that same issue many years ago when we refused to have a moratorium against restaurants with drive-up windows, and lo and behold, we got 4 of them.
During the
And they're all
moratorium,
doing real well.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's, we can either put it off for 6 months, or not do anything, or ban them, or whatever else the other option was in there, which didn't on the table. So, any more discussion? All in favor of the temporary moratorium? All in favor of the temporary moratorium, do so with show of hand. So, all opposed? Then that's, yeah, okay. I think I heard it right, 0 to 5. So that's no moratorium.
No hoochie coochie.
All right, now, we go to item B, from here to now item C. First reading of ordinance 1211 to amend the Irmo business license ordinance to add a fee for these things. Is there a motion for first reading?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, well, like I said, the $500 fee was just a number I threw out there, but I think that's a reasonable number. It's not too ridiculous, but it does have an impact. And I'd even further, if you wanted to go further, say where that money is designated to go to, I'm willing to make make that also part of that. If you want to say it's going to go to our entertainment or to our, I don't know, what do you call it? Any social event or anything? I don't know.
I would,
I mean, if you go to the town coffers, is just revenue? Or?
yeah, that's what I would look at,
Okay.
just put it into revenue. I don't have a problem with the amount of the fee. I think it is a fee for the machine. And again, it's, I think that it should be in the general commercial area. I don't think it should be in a residential area or an office commercial area.
What about neighborhood commercials? I think some of them are in neighborhood commercials. But I think, and I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
that little place behind me, that fire escape, whatever it is, Shell, that's neighborhood.
That's neighborhood commercial.
Okay.
Now, I don't have a problem with neighborhood commercial, but neighborhood or general commercial. So if it's in neighborhood, it could go to general commercial. I believe that's the way our ordinance is worded.
This is actually for just the business license, the classification rate schedule. That doesn't regulate what zone that it is
But we would have to do that under a separate,
The planning commission have to look at that. If there are any ordinance amendments, we'd have to bring that to you.
But the type of place, say, a convenience store right now, pretty much all of them have to be in general commercial, I think. Right
or
now.
neighborhood commercial. General commercial if they have a gasoline pump.
Yeah, general commercial, they have gas. And if they're gonna be a 24-hour type place, would that have to be in a general commercial, I think?
No.
Or is that just based on square footage?
I think
So if they were small square
Neighborhoods.
footage, they could get.
Neighborhood's based on
We don't
the
regulate that.
size, but as far as if it's a 24-hour, we don't have a regulation.
But I mean, if ever gonna be a 24-hour, or I don't say 20, but
Internet cafe.
would they be allowed in the neighborhood commercial zone? That would just determine how big the building was.
Right.
If they were small enough, they could be in it, if they only wanted 5 or 10 as opposed to 200.
An office commercial does regulate the hours of operation, does it not?
Well, right here, under miscellaneous amusement services, they're only allowed in general commercial. So we could, when one came, miscellaneous amusement services.
Yeah, but they're in neighborhood commercial now, but I don't wanna.
Are they in the fire escape?
Well, that one fire escape, I'm pretty sure is neighborhood, because I don't think it ever got changed.
It is.
That was grandfathered in a long time ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they were already there.
Yeah, they're in, I think they're in there. They got something back there. And the only question I have,
Yeah, well, we do have point-operated amusements with payouts. And right now, it's only permitted in general commercial, which, like you said, would have to be reviewed by the planning commission to say they want them in neighborhood commercial.
I just didn't know if it could be rolled into this, because it needs to be a separate
It would-
issue.
It would
to
be.
keep it clean.
This is
We'll
dealing
make it
with
a
the
separate
business
issue.
license ordinance. This is the.
Okay. Now, the business license ordinance says that, I think it was a sticker, wasn't it? Is that what we're
The
talking about?
stamp fee.
Now, the stamp fee is generic enough that says, I think it was generalized, it says a Coke machine is also required to have a stamp fee also. But I'm not talking
This
about,
would be on video sweepstake amusement machines. The other would be a vending machine.
right,
And that's just a $12.50 deal.
right, but I don't want those two to get mixed up, is what I'm saying. I
Right,
want
they
this to
would.
be specific for the
We've
video
done,
sweepstakes machines.
we've done video poker machines in
Mhm.
this manner.
Okay,
this really was mirrored that because we did come in and charge them, when they allowed the town to go in and
Right.
the municipalities to charge a stamp fee for a video poker machine. It's basically the same thing. We had a sticker that was done up specifically for those.
Does this need 3 readings?
Yeah.
Does it need a public hearing?
You should.
And the amusement machine, is that going to include, like I know Lucky's, whatever that hamburger joint is, they have regular old-timey, well, I'm gonna call pinball, but they're not, they're, what do you call those things?
They don't pay out though.
No, you just go,
Unless you're doing something underhanded gambling.
but with this covered those, I mean, I wouldn't want those people to have to start paying $500 on a typical, whatever you call a little Pac-Man machine or
Yeah.
whatever that is.
That would exclude those, wouldn't it?
The wording should basically read
Payout.
sweepstakes machines or any skill-based machine or other video game which allows any form of cash payout.
Yeah,
Put that, you got it covered.
okay. Get that?
Did somebody write that down?
Say it again, please.
I'm sure Counselor can give that to us a second reading.
I'll have Jake tell me what.
Now,
Good.
how would this be enforced? I mean, how? The business will have to provide the number of machines they have, I mean, will someone have to go visit,
Yeah.
make sure.
Yeah, when I go get my gas, I'm looking to see if there's a little yellow Irmo stick on that machine.
There's also always a hidden deposit, I just want to make sure.
Okay, we're gonna put you in charge then.
But it needs to be considered, I mean.
It does, I agree, because I know they exist. I don't think I've ever been in one, but,
What, a closet?
no, hidden.
Oh,
There's some places in the back.
But most of them, I mean, if you want people to plan, they need to be up where people can see them and they go, oh, there's one I'm gonna put your money in. And how would we,
And the $500, is that reasonable?
Is that too much? Is that too much? Is that?
Yeah, I was wondering if it should be more.
well, no, I mean,
I think some places, I think you said they charge 500, some charge 1,000, but something in that ballpark.
well, I mean, I don't wanna get ridiculous. I mean, I wanna try to get a little money out. Let's see how 500 works. If we get an influx of these things, we can always raise the rates, you know. I think we won't get an influx. I'll be surprised if we do get an influx.
We've had a few calls for internet cafes.
Cool. How many do you wanna put in there, 10?
Good say.
Well, according to this, we ain't even letting Alabama's open up right now.
Yeah.
All right, you said internet, does that mean internet gaming?
Mm-hmm.
That's like where they have a little place set up with computers.
So the payout is coming from out of state or coming from another country?
Don't have a clue. Other
It'd
than
be just like
computers
these
set up.
machines, but they have 20, 30, 40 of them in there, and I guess they're called.
They do it on a
You
computer.
do all kind of gambling in there.
Well, sure, but the money is being from another country, could be.
And these could
And
too,
we-
minimum, because I mean, these, they hook up that machine to that internet, I mean, it's,
Right.
and then they're off.
Could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we'll get our money, put a sticker on there.
One kind of stickers you can't pull off and peel off and put in another machine either. Those instructable ones.
We'll have to have something, about $600. I've already looked at that, getting something made up.
Now, stickers are expensive.
Really?
I feel like the metal ones.
Yeah. No, I want the one you can peel off and put on another machine. Instruction.
They're gonna be green first.
Yeah, okra stickers.
And right now, if I understand it correctly, if we vote for it right now, first reading, it'll be just like it's worded. If we make a change, then we would need to change separate so that we can amend this one after we.
So we can amend the wording in second
Yeah,
reading.
you'd have to put it back on like this and amend it. And just
But
have
not,
the wording.
it wouldn't be a first reading.
Yeah, yeah,
That'd be
so it'd be
second.
second, just amend it after we do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the pending ordinance
Doctor.
doctor applies this, doesn't it?
Okay.
Good. Yeah. If somebody wanted to come in and get a business license, then it would apply for a new business coming in.
Okay.
Okay, I have one more question. We had these on video poker machines.
Just a little like sticker.
Yeah,
The town made a lot of money.
Just gonna take a little sticker.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
The state did too. At that time, we could charge a stamp fee and charge them on their gross revenue that they got from those machines.
So we have a precedent.
However,
So like you
These
said,
are
if you want to
like
come in and they were
difficult
going
to
to get them, and they'd get a business license, like the internet cafe, pay on that plus so much per machine. Any more discussion? All in favor of first reading of ordinance 1211 to add stamp fee for video sweepstakes amusement machines, do so with show of hands. Next item is first reading of ordinance 1212 to amend the Irmo Town Code to add chapter 11, rental property registration. And this is the second ordinance, so to speak. Is there a motion for first reading?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I'll recognize Councilman Young the first and then Councilman Walker.
All right, so this is the ordinance. A lot of people have been complaining about. This is an attempt to try to correct these problems. And I believe our attorney still has some cleaning up to do with it, but this is to get it on our record, to get it started, yeah.
And this is also the one that has gone to the planning commission. Is that
They've
correct?
reviewed it, that's correct.
They reviewed it, okay.
And they have no changes.
Is this in accordance with the International Property Code?
It's got some more verbiage in there from that.
Okay,
It's not drafted entirely.
okay.
We've used a couple of major cities in South Carolina, Clemson, Rock Hill.
Got it, okay,
I'm still not totally happy with it, but we're heading in the right direction.
okay.
And the only, I can make a couple of minutes on here, and I don't know, section 1102 business license required. It's my understanding this one will be for, if you just own one home, rental home. So if I own a home and I move out of town and I decide to rent my home instead of selling it or wait for a better market or who knows what, I would still get it right then. There's no exemption for just a homeowner that says I'm moving out of town and rent my house until they sell it. So they would apply as well, okay? And the other thing I wanted to ask, just on section 1119, and this has some of the same stuff as unsightly and unsanitary. I don't know if there's any way to clean this up, and maybe that's what you're talking about, but under item 2, environmental, it talks about the weeds and undergrowth and other matters. Excuse me, I can't pronounce that word. Deleterious to good health. I don't know what that means.
Injurious,
sound
against, bad.
It kind of sounds like unsanitary and unsightly, which is up to everybody's. I don't know if we can write it better to where we get rid of some of that cloudiness, because I think that's part of the problem now is that unsightly and unsanitary.
You're absolutely correct. Those are sort of some of my problems too. It's got a little too much cloud in it, and we can fix it before third reading.
And under doors and windows, sleeper rooms must have at least 1 square foot operational window. It was my understanding that we were going to, I would say, not go into the properties, but look. So this would require us to go in, or we just have to know?
This was a recommendation from the fire marshal.
Okay.
You know, so-
But that would mean we'd have to go into the house and look, or just guess what rooms are bedrooms.
Well, he wanted to be involved with
Oh.
at least making sure it was safe for people to be able to get out. He doesn't want to go inspect, like, inside the fire codes.
But you could make sure they have a window that opens, that's it?
Not all painted shut.
And then I think swimming pools must be drained if they're not, all that other stuff. Is that more liability if somebody drains a pool and a child falls into it, as opposed to, if we forced them to drain the pool and a kid falls into it, or we not?
It's certainly not any liability to us. The problem you've got to have a legitimate trade-off between you know, breeding ground for mosquitoes and the potential risk of somebody, you know, falling in. If we basically have the rules which we presently have, which require backyard pools to be fenced anyway, you'd hope there'd be enough sense to keep people out of the backyard who ought not go in. I mean, one of the problems we do have, and if you go around town, you will see it, especially with some of the above ground pools, but some of the in ground too, that they don't run a filter, they don't maintain. It's just green, black goo that does nothing but drain, but breed mosquitoes. And you know, if you ride around, you can see them, and it's just nasty. And it is. You know, we're going to have less mosquitoes this summer as it is with the heat.
And DHEC and I think Richland County already kind of, I don't say regulate that to some degree too, as far as mosquitoes and targets, whatever you call it.
To some degree, yes.
Debris. And I don't know if it was an insurance requirement or a state when I lived in Alabama. I think those down there, if you drain them, you had to fill them with dirt. And it might be the insurance personal health, a lot of homeowners, I remember there being something in there, if you drain them, you had to fill them with dirt.
This thing is open for discussion and modification. It's totally at your pleasure. There are a number of things that I see in here that I want to tweak before we wind up with a reading.
We can get a list, say from you, and then all the council members can make a list of my next reading, and we can, and the same thing on parking spaces. The only thing we got there now is per occupant, where if you have a 4-bedroom house and mom and dad and 2 kids living there, then we would have to have 4 parking spaces, even though they don't drive.
Or you could park them on the street or all in the
But if
driveway.
they don't drive, if they're 12 and 15 years old. I think we need to change that to not occupant, but per
Licensed driver.
but licensed driver or per vehicle for that property or something, so that, you know, if it's just kids, then we don't require them to put parking in there when they ain't got, they ain't got cars. That was only some of the stuff I saw that I think we need to.
Oh, and grass and weed, and can we go back to 12 inches?
We dropped it to 8 inches, making that be a little more.
Yeah, because 12 inches is,
But I've had weeds in my own yard, 12 inches in the grass, you know, but I have.
well, then you cook it.
Before we cut it, my husband is elderly, he cuts it when he wants to cut it. But it's, yeah. But you know, until you get the weeds under control or get weed and kill or whatever out there, sometimes the weeds can be a foot high. I understand the poison works better when they're that high. I just think 12 inches is more reasonable than 8.
The
Now,
only
the whole
thing,
yard.
and I asked Bob about that, and that's why I changed, or he changed it, that's why I asked him to change it, because most grasses are 4 inches at the max.
They are, yeah.
And then if you say your grass can't be over 5 inches or 6 or 7, then we're being a little bit too whatever. If you let it go to 12, then people are gonna go, good Lord, you're not doing anything.
Well,
And I thought, well, somewhere between 4 and 12, we start with 8 and see what happens.
8's
But-
probably a pretty good number. I mean, that's
It's still pretty high.
if the grass is that high.
Wait, it says grass and weed
Yeah,
height.
weed,
It
yeah.
doesn't say, I'm not talking about grass, I'm talking about weeds,
Well,
which are twice as tall as the grass.
You know, if you can debate this all day long. Hopefully,
Okay.
there'll be a little bit of discretion in our law enforcement. I mean, if you got one dandelion that's going up, you know, okay, but
Maybe it ought to be 10.
And some weeds, I mean, there is no definition of a weed. A weed is what somebody doesn't like. A weed could be a flower, and some grasses are nothing but weeds, but they're root
Well,
grasses. So
that's why we ought to make it 10 inches. Very few
You gotta get
flowers
in
are
there.
taller than 10 inches.
Still gonna be the discretion of the code enforcement officer, and we're not gonna be out there trying to beat people up, but I mean, you get a whole yard to us.
The whole, oh yeah,
One or
the
two
whole
pop
yard
up.
is, I'm just
I
referring
think
to
too, the good
weeds.
thing with the depth, whether it's 8 or 10 or 9, is that when you go to court and the judge says, well, how tall is the grass?
Mhm.
And what does your ordinance say? It can't be unsightly, unsanitary.
It's gotta
at
be,
least,
it's gotta be an inch.
you got something to say it was over that threshold.
You know, and Paul, don't get me wrong on this, okay? I'm walking in your direction slowly. I'm also walking in the direction of some of the constituents I've heard, and I got a problem with the entire section 1119. I think our police are better served, our code enforcement officers are better served going out and protecting our community from bank robbers and murders and stuff, instead of being out there with a ruler saying, okay, your grass is over 12 inches or 8 inches high. I think if the town of Irmo came to me and said, Barry, your gutters are sagging and need to be fixed and they're rusty, need to be painted, I'd say to the town of Irmo, okay, great, have at it. You know, I may not be in a position to paint it at that time. But if you're saying that that's a requirement of me living in the town of Irmo, and I have to maintain that, that's fine. But show me a way that I can get that done. Show me the out, if you will. Show me the assistance that I'm going to get from the town to get these things done. If you tell me that I have to be free of rats and mice and roaches, well, I don't know about you, but these South Carolina's got some of the biggest roaches I've ever seen in my life, called palmetto bugs. And I didn't see any of those roaches until I came to South Carolina. And they're huge, and they're in my house. And I sprayed, and I'm sorry, I still got it. Okay, now they're not running crazy, not running rampant, but I got roaches. So does that mean that I'm not going to be able to rent my property? I'm in violation of our code now because they found a roach in my property?
If I could interrupt you, I want you to put yourself, your house right now, you got a rental house next to you that's abandoned, and it looks awful. We got a park on top. We got windows falling down. It's going to bring your property down, and your neighborhood's going to change. It will.
That's why I'm walking in your direction. Okay.
All right, so this is the frustration that I've heard from someone even tonight. They live in this subdivision. There's houses that are abandoned. People are not taking care of them whatsoever. And people are renting these houses and doing whatever they want to the home. Don't care about the yard, don't care about the neighborhood. So it goes downhill. So people put the houses up for sale. They can't get the money they want or they should get from the house because the neighborhood is going down.
The house next to you looks like trash. And I understand that. But what can we do in an ordinance like this to not only say that we want you to enforce these standards, but here's how to pay for those standards. Here's the assistance to get these things done. In other words, don't just tell me that I need to fix this, I need to paint my house, I need to fix my railing, and then don't tell me how I can afford it. I mean, how can I do it?
Well, we're talking about landlords right now who are...
Yeah, we're talking
Well, see, that's the other part of the problem too. This ordinance has to be universally applied. It can't be applied just to people that rent.
That's further down the agenda.
I know, and that's what I mean. That's what the code enforcement officer is going to catch havoc, trying to determine. Well, okay, this falls under the landlord ordinance because you're renting, but then this house next to you is the same condition. You know, same situation, is owned by Joe Schmo, and he lives there, but he still got the same issues that you're giving a guy that has another property a citation for or a abatement notice for.
There's problems everywhere. We've got commercial businesses in town that look terrible.
Right.
And that brings down, keeps businesses from coming in our town. So we need to start somewhere.
And I agree. Please, that's what I'm saying. I'm not abandoning it. I know what we're trying to do, and I'm walking with it, but I think we need to do it in steps. I think we need to do the first part of this ordinance, which is just to create the landlord registration. In section 11.9 needs to be another ordinance that we apply at a later date when we have more time to debate it or to discuss it, because we're trying to put them both together, and we're trying to be universally applicable to both landlords as well as owners. Because I hate for the code enforcement guys to sit there and make that decision in the field. Is this a owner occupied property, well, I can forget about that. If this is a landlord owned property, you know, that's when I can go after, you know.
That's true.
That's the only thing I'm saying. If we can separate those two, I'd feel more comfortable going along with this. Just that section 11.19, 11-19.
I mean, you could break it down to where you just make them get a business license and register and pay.
Right, that's it.
And,
But then, now you've done it.
we had that on the agenda a couple of years ago too, and that just didn't pass. The other thing too is, you know, right now, if you come into town to open up a business and you're gonna buy a lot and clear that land, you're gonna get hit with a list of stuff from this town that tells you what you gotta do, as far as your landscaping ordinance, as far as how many parking spaces you can have for your business, for your square footage, or whatever kind of, and so we already kind of tell businesses, in fact, last year we told them, that you can't open up a smoking business. So this is, you know, even though I'm opposed to it, I like it, I don't like it, I do like it, the same thing we're talking about, you know, there's two sides to the fence. You know, we are going to try to address problems in the town of people who are not addressing them, but we're only going to address the ones that are owned by other people, not owned by the individual. So all those people are not being addressed. Other than our code enforcement already has stuff that they can enforce, which I would encourage us to encourage our code enforcement to go after that portion hard and see what checks out and what needs to be adjusted or not. I mean, they should be telling us, fix this, don't fix that, leave that alone, fix this. Like the site limits, 10 inches, 8 inches, 6 inches. But at the same time, you know, I know very many people, I think we got a different email a couple of weeks ago, I think Brian and the people went out there and looked at it, of houses over on that same road, west and white. And they were cluttered, but it wasn't against our code as far as clutter. I mean, there was stuff out there that looked terrible, but it wasn't approved for it. But people are saying the same thing. I'm ready to move out of town, it looks like a pigsty or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. And we do need to do something. I think taking off the step of, let's go after the business license or the rental property first, because I've heard investors say they don't want to buy any more houses over here because they can put a lot of money into them, and then they can't rent them out or sell them because the houses beside them are, you know, bad. And that is running.
That may not be, that's the situation, it may not be rental.
It may not, but I think the first thing you gotta do is start with the rental property and address those issues with those landlords, because we can either make them do it or not do it, or don't rent your house out and just sell it.
But you
And you're only gonna create.
tell a landlord you have to do something, but then a homeowner
Yes, you
in
can.
the same
We
situation.
tell the business right now, they've got to do certain things. We tell people they can't smoke in their business, but you can smoke in your house all the time.
Yeah, that's, you can't
It is,
tell.
we're telling one class and one
You
person
cannot
to do
tell
one.
a landlord that his roof needs to be replaced, and then the house right next to it is owned by an elderly person that needs a roof replaced. Well, you just ignore them.
Well, you can't.
How can you do that?
I mean,
How can you
it
do that?
because if you do the ordinance, then you do it.
Well, that's why I'm against it. I mean, it needs to be applied.
But at the same time, if
Against
I
one or
get my
another.
power bill or my water bill, and I call City of Columbia and tell them, you know what, I can't pay my water bill this month, what can you do for me? They're gonna say, we'll cut you off. I mean, you know, we can't fix people's houses for them. We can't provide to the, you know, I mean, we just don't have the revenue for that. If you buy a house.
I'm
your
not saying that
responsibility.
that's the solution. I'm
To
saying we
maintain.
need to look at that a little closer.
We can look at it.
Throw it
what
all
can we do?
together and together, so, you know, basically ostracize one group against another.
I don't know that you're ostracizing, I
Sure
think
you are.
you're,
If you look
you're
at a guy,
giving them,
if you're saying if I'm a renter,
Right.
that I have one standard, and if I'm an owner, I have another standard, that's ostracizing one group against the other.
we do that right now with businesses.
Well, but not residential, that's what I'm talking about.
And these people that would own 3 or 4 homes, that is a business. And if they want to rent a house,
And
then
that's,
there should be adequate parking.
and that's
There
what,
should be
well,
adequate
again,
maintenance
that's what
on
I'm
the home.
saying, if that's the case, there needs to be adequate parking at that person that has a rental house, then why shouldn't there be adequate parking at the person that owns the house?
I agree. But you can also
Okay, so
pass an
agree,
ordinance,
then
you can also pass an ordinance that tells the homeowner that they can do that. I wouldn't vote for that, because I think when somebody buys a house, and we don't have an ordinance that says you gotta have parking for all your kids' cars, to turn back around later and tell them, now you gotta put in 3 more driveways, I don't know that I would ever vote for that.
Grandfathered in,
Yeah,
we're getting to that.
but I think you can't.
We need to vote on this one so we can get to that.
Yeah, I
what
think
I'm
you
saying,
have to-
what I'd like to see is just separate that piece out. If you don't agree with that, then that's all
Well,
right.
what about if we passed everything except, okay, if we said that this part goes and then 1119 will be enforced 90 days after this? Something like that?
Yeah, because I think we need to talk about this a little more. 1119, just section 1119. I don't have a problem
Well,
with
we're
the
still in
next
first reading here, so we've got time between second reading and third reading to come back with some recommendations.
Well, okay, well, here's my thing. I will support it because I agree with the ordinance in principle, okay? But I would hope that the town constituency would contact all of us by email, they got our email address, or by telephone if they want to, and tell us their views on especially section 1119. Because it's gonna be applied to one class of people, the renters, the people who are renting property.
I think that may be dealt with a little later here.
The landlord.
Well, landlord, right.
You could also, at some point, you could go through the thing, pass it, change it, do whatever you want to. And then the
There's a
license,
lot of stuff in here that,
the license would go into effect, say 60 days, 90 days after passage. And these would go into effect 6 months after passage. Because you get this squared away, get them licensed, get them whatever, get them all registered. And then say 90 days after the cutoff date, then we're going to enforce these things here, whatever's left on the thing.
remember now, we're sending a patrol officer out there to enforce this stuff. You know, Buck's got enough grief with other things going on to worry about grass height and tree, parking spaces in the driveway. I don't want to talk out of turn, chief, but I'm not trying to give you too much of
I
a
think we got an email where he was going to do 3 code enforcement.
So I guess that's gonna be the part.
So that would be doing nothing but that, and it'd be their job not doing other stuff. Which I think is a great thing to kind of address. And they'll be devoted only to that, not to other crimes and speeding and all the other things. Any more discussion?
I'll wait till you
So we're at, let's see. So all in favor of first reading of ordinance 1212 to amend the Irmo code as it is right here, then we can make adjustments by second, and we could have a public hearing at second reading if we wanted to. If council wants, they can, like Bob knows, set that up. We can do it third reading. It might be
I like
later.
that was a second reading.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta have 15 days posted for a public hearing. We have 15 days between now and 5th of June.
If not, then we just,
We do if we get it in the paper by
Tomorrow.
first. Yeah. Okay.
or we could either wait another meeting and just.
They can do it.
Okay.
You could do a public hearing on third reading.
Yeah, but I think they said do it on the second.
Do it in a second. That will
I'm gonna hear what people have to say, so we
Big
change
read.
that.
So all in favor of first reading of ordinance 1212? And all opposed?
Oh, there.
And let's see. Now to item E, discussion on unsightly and unsanitary, and Councilman Conlon asked that to be on the agenda, so I recognize her.
This was strictly to address owner-occupied properties. If we're gonna do this to rental properties, it's unfair not to do it to owner-occupied properties. Now, it has been suggested that we get the bugs out first with the landlord ordinance before we change the rest of code to owner occupied. And I'm in agreement with that. Whatever would make more sense, that's fine. But we can't tell one house, half your roof's missing and you gotta replace it, and then tell the people next door, half your roof's missing, but it's fine. We can't do that.
Exactly.
It's not right. And I also think we need to make it known to the people that if you own your home, I'm not saying I'm a landlord, but if you live in your home and you are elderly or you cannot afford to do it, there are people that will help you. And there's quite a few in this town. And I've seen them, I know they exist, and there's quite a number. And I think maybe town hall could let some of those people know. Now, owner occupied, if you own this house to rent it or what, that's different. You're making money, or you ought to be. But I do think the standards ought to be the same. So maybe what this is 90 days after we do the landlord, let's bring the rest of the code up to date with what we finally decide on this. That makes sense?
I would say probably more than 90, because it may take a while, I don't know how long a while to get the kinks worked out as code enforcement goes out and figures out that, this ain't working, this is too much, or this is too little.
Well, that may be, I don't know.
I think if we pass the ordinance as it's written, we have total control of how and how fast we move on it. There are ordinances on the books right now that are not enforced because they're not a problem. And if it becomes a problem, we have something to deal with it. It's not something to go out with a checklist and say, well, let's look at this piece of property and go down the checklist. No, you use it to solve problems as they come about. I think back to the time we had an ordinance that prevented you from parking in a handicap zone. But we had no fines to enforce it.
We do.
It was on there for years. And then we put those fines on, and then we could enforce it. This is going to be pretty much the same way. We've got the ordinance, and as it becomes a problem, we can do that. I'm in total agreement with you that the town should probably maintain a list of those folks that do this charitable work and work with folks that need a hand up.
And we will have more and more as we age.
Absolutely.
You're not old enough to understand, Bob Brown. But it's true. And,
I qualify for AARP. I could be a member.
well, we wouldn't qualify for Medicare. But it just makes sense. If we're going to do this and expect people to go by what we're saying, we're going to have to offer assistance to some. And I know it's there, so just tell them where it is.
And that will be my recommendations to council in tweaking this by second reading.
I agree.
Well, I'd like to hear from, hopefully, the paper will reflect that we need to have a public hearing on this next reading. I'd like to hear from more constituents about their feelings on the actual Section 19.
I agree.
I agree. I want to know what people say.
That's really, that's the only heartache I got with the whole thing, is just enforcing those things.
We'll have some medication for your heart.
Any other discussion? Next item is F, approval to reduce the speed limit and install speed bumps on Finsbury Road. And I guess we need a motion for that, if it's approved, or that would be, yeah. So is there
What's the speed limit now on Finsbury?
25, what's the speed limit on Finsbury?
25 and 20,
25 and
25 and 20.
So I'm going to make a motion to explain why we did it. Would you second?
Okay.
And this is the reason why we did it. I've been well aware of the problem on Finsbury Road, intimately aware for about 5 months. When I was almost hit, and I had to stand there there and watch it and see the cars come over the hill. I promise you, on one of the cars, I believe some of the tires left the pavement, because they come over fast, drop, and there are houses along there where there are small children, because I have met the small children, and the parents are ready to plant a tree next to the curb, so when a car comes toward their front yard, it'll hit the tree and not their child. I mean, it's serious. It's one of the worst walks I've ever made, and I wouldn't do it again without backup of some type. But anyway, I was trying to come up with something that would help, and DOT suggested this, and I thought, well, put it on here, let's see what we get. And now we know how you feel. We don't want to do anything that you don't want, but I really do want something to cut down speed on Finsbury. I just.
When's that little orchestra, the speed thing, is that still active?
The trailer?
Yeah, it's probably.
We have it is a maintenance hog, because you use deep cycle marine batteries, and we were losing money hand over fist, having to replace batteries to try to keep them charged and uncharged, and there was no mechanism for doing anything with somebody who blew by the sign at 20 miles an hour at the speed limit. It just
No, well, you put it out there for a week, let people see how fast they're going, and then we put a police car out there the next week with radar, and then start writing tickets. That would get to catch people's attention.
Specifically on Finsbury, we can put cars out there all day long, but radar operates on line of sight. So if we're going over the hill and they're coming down the hill, we have no mechanism of knowing how fast they're going. The radar doesn't pick them up. And on Finsbury, as y'all know, it's as much up and down as it is back and forth. We are in that neighborhood. I don't know how often they've seen us, but we are over there. The people who are driving past through there, the vast majority of them are people who live in that neighborhood because they drive that road all the time. They feel comfortable in driving faster than most people. The other small percentage of people who use that road as a cut through from Nursery Road to St. Andrews Road. The people that do a lot of cut through drive down Fork Avenue, and that's where we write a lot of speeding tickets on Fork Avenue. Fork Avenue is a lot straighter, the hill is not as steep, and so we have an easier time getting a speed on radar on Fork Avenue than on Finsbury Road.
Do you think that the school entrance, as well as the condition of Fork Avenue, which is not real good, has moved traffic to Finsbury?
It might have moved some traffic. I think they fixed the huge potholes on Fork Avenue. They've gone through and repaved that, and it's not the dirt road that it was months ago when they were doing the construction. Afternoon school time, we still get traffic backed up on Fork Avenue. That's always been a problem on Fork Avenue ever since they've redesigned the school to put the entrance over there off the Lake Boulevard.
Brian, how do we slow them down? The goal we can slow them down. We got to slow traffic down there. How do we do it?
We can try to put barricades at the beginning, say local traffic only, to restrict access on that road to people that live there. I know the City of Columbia has done that downtown with some of the, like Confederate Avenue. They put a lot of stop signs on Confederate Avenue, put speed humps on Confederate Avenue, and it restricts the traffic from North Main Street to Bull Street. So it's just local traffic going through there, not cut-through traffic.
They're going to ignore those signs, aren't they?
Well, people ignore stop signs, but it's easier to enforce that kind of thing than it is a speed limit that we can't get any sort of tracking on using a line of sight radar.
Because the radar guns, you can't pick them up.
Right. If you move the radar gun, you've lost your Doppler and your tracking on it, so it's not like we can move the radar gun up and down when the cars are going up and down the hill.
Brian, back a few years back, we put a stop sign, a couple stop signs on Friarscape Boulevard, right there at Thames Valley, to slow some traffic down. And for 30 days or so, we got a lot of complaints. We wrote warning tickets, and then we started writing the real live things after 30 days. Got a lot of complaints, and we finally removed those stop signs. Do you think the addition or I know that y'all work with the Neighborhood Watch, and Coachworth has had a very active homeowners association. If we got with them and see if they would like to designate a space with your recommendation of where maybe a stop sign would be, and try that for a while.
Maybe two stop signs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to, slow that traffic down. And then that would give you, I understand the position. I've been out with your folks there, and if you give somebody a ticket, you want to be fair. And, not, I guess you were going too fast. When you come here, I don't want to put you or your officers in a position that they don't have concrete information when they approach the judge with the situation. But like you said, a stop sign, you either stop or you don't stop.
Stop signs would be akin to local traffic only or a speed bump at the beginning of the road.
Well, I think speed bumps out of the question.
Yeah, they don't want to.
Well, and I just put that up as, the counselor asked about things. You put them at the beginning of the road along the sign that says local traffic only, it may help. You can also put stop signs at various spaces, various places along the road. The different intersections down there, and you can have 2, 3 stop signs on that road. And that may help. Ultimately, it's up to the drivers who drive on that road to be responsible about it, and we can try those things. Bearing in mind, I'm not saying that I'm opposed to it, I'm all about writing stop sign tickets. Typically speaking, when you do that, you're writing tickets to the people who live in the neighborhood. And if the people in the neighborhood are okay with it, then that's what we'll do.
Chief, could citizens report to you this reckless driving behavior? I know you cannot be, your officers cannot be there 24/7, but can the residents make a report, maybe through the internet, email?
I know we've done that before. We've done direct patrol reports in Coatesworth for rush hour, and morning rush hour and afternoon rush hour when traffic's the heaviest. We've done that before, and we can do that again in conjunction with any sort of physical changes to the road, whether it's stop signs or whatever else goes up, for when people think the traffic's the heaviest when this is going on. When it comes to a car driving by you, how fast is that car going? That's tough for us to make a case on with the neighborhood resident saying, the car was going 60. Well, okay, how do we prove that? What do we have to support it, and that kind of thing. So those are difficult cases to make. But if the neighborhood wants to tell us when they see the most traffic on that road and when they think the complaints are the worst, then by all means, we'll be happy to be there. And we've done that before.
One thing I was going to say, and I can't remember the whole conversation, but I did talk to DOT today too about speed bumps and that kind of scenario. He mentioned they do something called a slow speed study or some kind of thing when they go out, and he said no, they'll look at just speed bumps. They'll also look at, should we put 4-way stops in? They can do it for one road, they can do it for the whole neighborhood. And they can do it, say, for that neighborhood in Fort Academy, because he said the thing you don't want to do is, slow down on one road and convert them to another. Now, if it was from Finsbury to Fort, that may be good, because that's a different road, but he said they can make a recommendation as to, here's what you can do, whether it's changing speed limit or a combination of speed limit signs, stop signs, speed bumps and all like that. But he said once they do that, their study is going to say you should put a speed bump here, 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 or not at all where. For instance, they won't put them on the hill. At the bottom of the hill or on the hill up, they put them at the top of the hill. But and they got to be built in a way that fire trucks and ambulances and all that, and then they don't really slow down that much. But he said the same thing with the changing the speed limit. If they ain't gonna pay attention to a 25, they're not gonna pay attention to a 20. It gets back to you just gotta have somebody out there running up tickets, and until the ones that are doing it, how you do that, I don't know. If they're at 25 now, and you're doing, say, 35, changing it to 20, I don't know if it's gonna slow it down.
I don't think we should reduce the speed limit or install speed bumps, but we need to do something about enforcement. I think
That's the only thing we can do is just put them out there more. And I don't know, it's like a hill, I don't know if you can put two out there. Again, I don't know how can you do it.
I like the local traffic only.
I like that, and I like the stop sign.
And, I mean, that, I think it takes guts to go through a stop sign. I mean, I've never done it intentionally when I, so maybe if we start there and then better communication with the code sport that they let y'all know what time to be there, or, what the worst time is. Maybe that'll help.
And I don't know if Elmer knows or Miss Olear knows, but is there certain intersections there that y'all's mind as a homeowner group that you would prefer to see a stop sign, or one or two that would, you think, address it better, or do y'all have any?
What do you think, Elmer?
I am concerned about, if I understand right, putting a stop sign at the bottom of the hill. That would be the intersection of Finsbury and Basing House.
Okay.
If you put a stop sign there at the bottom of Finsbury Road, at the intersection of Basing House, the way these cars are coming down the hill, when they see the stop sign, if they make the effort to stop, it's the speed some of them are going, they're going to go into a skid and a slide, and they're going to end up in the neighborhood's properties.
They're going that fast. He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
But if we put the stop sign at the top of the hill in both directions, to at least bring them to a stop before they start down the hill,
I don't think that would work.
I think it would.
I don't think so.
Well, I think at this point, we're looking for some possibilities. We could put a toll gate on it and stop everybody.
We could do that.
Correct change only, I mean.
We could become a gated,
Gated community.
We'll run on the potholes, so it makes it slow them down.
You talk about putting up local traffic only, that could also be a problem for somebody that gets upset because you're discouraging them from going through Finsbury Road. Some people have even taken the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit signs and destroyed those so that you can't see that the speed limit is 20 miles an hour on the roadway. So if you put up a sign that says local traffic only, somebody that's upset that you're telling them they can't drive on Finsbury Road, they could do the same thing with that sign too, destroy it or deface it. At times they defaced it, sprayed over it so you couldn't read the number 20. And other times they bent the sign completely where we had to have the highway department come out. Well, Lexington County replaced, I think, the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit sign 2 or 3 times at the fork entrance of Finsbury Road because of being destroyed or defaced by somebody that didn't want to obey the speed limit.
Well, one thing we could do, and I don't know, is have Bob call DOT and then think about that, whatever they call it, slow, they had a different name for it. Basically, we're trying to slow down traffic in the neighborhood. And ask them to give us recommendations as to what they think would work, excluding speed bumps. And then maybe have the homeowner association meet at y'all's next meeting and give us what y'all think is a recommendation. And then have police chief put some cars over there in the meantime too and see what you can pick up as far as how much they are speeding. And if there's a certain time of day. And in the meantime, if y'all know, is it in the morning, in the evening, at 12 or 2 or 6 or whatever, then we can be there at those times.
If we could have one of y'all come and visit our meeting, the town administrator or Chief Buck or you or somebody come and tell us what you found out. Our meeting is the second Monday of the month. So if someone could come and tell us, and I'll get as many.
I don't know how long that study takes, but as soon as we get it back, we can.
Well, I mean, Tony had told me, not so much a study, but that speed limit was adequate and enforcement was the only way to slow it down. I mean, that was his take on it.
Yeah, I think that was the
Roads
thing.
in the road.
Well, how about instituting a pilot project to have surveillance cameras? I'm serious. I mean,
Take a picture of the license.
They be stolen.
no, just,
Somebody come along and steal them.
no, it'd be a policy, you couldn't do it, but that, maybe that would help with break-ins, it would help with speed, it would help with other problems.
I don't know, it may.
Y'all meet second Monday.
The
Are you
second
still
Monday, yeah.
meeting at the hospital,
At the, yes, in the back of the
back of the round
state
hospital?
hospital.
How about that? How about those cameras?
I think it
Because I
should
know
be
there's a
explored.
couple of grants out there. Surveillance cameras.
Well, the first thing I would ask is if you got a picture, is that gonna do anything when you go to court? Or is that,
We can't use cameras for speed enforcement.
Why not? They do it in Florida all the time.
They basically come out with the rule. I don't know.
They stopped Jasper County.
Yeah, they brought down
That ahead.
You know, what I think I hear from y'all, and again, I'm interjecting myself way more than I should, but what I hear from y'all is like, the council is willing to do whatever it is within reason the homeowners want y'all to do in order to try
Yeah.
to remedy the problem. You got several different options, and, you know, the first option, I think we've received an invitation to go meet with their homeowners meeting. I'd highly recommend that somebody from the council or law
well,
enforcement.
I think you wanted to study the information from the station, or if we did one, is that what you were?
Right, you just, if somebody could come and tell us what, you know, the stop sign sounds good to me, but if you put it, like he says, if you put it, that would be the good place to put it, but if you put it there, it's gonna be dangerous.
To put a stop sign?
At the end of the phone.
At the,
They
at the,
come down that hill so fast.
they come down that hill so fast,
They do.
it
And if
could
it's
be
wet.
really dangerous there. But that would be the best place to put it on Finsbury.
What if you put a camera up there though?
You still can't enforce by way of the
You
county.
can't take it to court if you put the camera up, I mean, that's not gonna do any good. But that's the best place to put the camera, but Basing House has a stop sign there. At Finsbury and Basing House, they have a stop sign. And if you put a stop sign on Finsbury, that would be the best place to put it, because that's the bottom of the hill. But it's a dangerous place to put it, it's gonna be, I mean, Kathy can tell you, she's been walking through there, she knows how fast they come down there.
DOT moves so slowly, and Dennis Engineering is our retained engineer, and I know from past experience that they have a traffic division. It might be worth asking them to spend a little bit of money to ask them to go ahead and take a look at this problem for us, and maybe meet, for them to meet with us, with the homeowners, and see if we can't come out with an engineering solution from somebody that we pay, who's basically on our side, who will move at the speed we want them to. Just a suggestion to you.
And that might be better, and they can look at the whole neighborhood, not just Finsbury, but
Yeah.
what it's gonna do to everything
We
else
ought to do
in
both.
there.
And use the best components from each study. We ought to do engineering and DOT. Is it?
That's fine,
Can
we'll
we get
call
that?
DOT, let them do
We need as
it.
much information as possible. Is that,
That-
we gotta cure this somehow.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
You do know that, after Deptford, it's Lexington County.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's Richard, and then.
We've got that all over town.
Okay. So,
The only road more dangerous than Finsbury is Royal Tower.
yeah, well,
And, because you can get killed there too. You know, standing next to a mailbox, you can get killed there. Standing on the curb, you get killed in Finsbury. But those are two dangerous roads in this town.
You kill a large court.
Oh, yeah, but now
And
you
in the
got one.
meantime, you can
It's a big target.
do, I would call it study, but go out there and kind of figure out what's going on, and if there is certain times, whatever, too.
well, our meeting is at 7:00, the second Monday of every month. And it's behind the day hospital. On the bottom level, behind the day hospital, and everybody is welcome.
And as soon as we get that information back, we can get, come to let y'all know, and then y'all can kind of
Good, that would be
give us
great,
feedback too, and then let us know.
that would be great.
So right now, we had on here for a motion and second for approval, we just going to,
Study. We're gonna do 2 studies, right?
but right now, we're not gonna vote to do any of these, so we just need to vote that down, so, you know, we're not gonna reduce the speed or install speed bumps. Okay. So if you don't want to install speed bumps or reduce the speed
Well, you
bumps.
can just ask them to withdraw their motion.
Yeah,
I have not withdrawn the motion.
In a second.
Thank you. I just wanted people to know it was accomplished. And I'm glad, thank you for the backup. I appreciate that. Thank you.
next item is item G, approval to increase the town match for Palmetto Woods sidewalk project to $13,493.40. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? And I'll just make a comment from what I'm reading on here from our memo from Bob. Or Bob, do you want to explain that to the public, just what?
Well, these are 2 grant programs that we've been using for the last, 10, 11 years, and DOT has decided that they are being swamped with requests for engineering services, and it used to be free for us also. We could submit the grants. They decided that they're going to contract them all out, and so they need more money. They've raised everything 25% on these grant requests.
Now, didn't they pass something a couple of years ago that required them to do the?
Yep.
And we could do it before ourselves, and then they passed something, said they had to.
Yep.
And now they're saying that they got too many, and now they're gonna charge us to do what they required us. Can we hire somebody like Dennis or Hybrid or whoever to do them like
Well,
we used to?
that's who they do. They
That's
sell
what
out
they go
to
do,
Dennis and
yeah.
Hybrid. They do a lot of them.
But in the future, can't we do them ourselves to them instead of, I mean, we might get better rate than 25%, I don't know.
Yeah, but you can't get a DOT expert. They have to be designated as the OPA.
Yeah.
When they sub it out to Dennis, Dennis is not the OPA. Dennis would be the
Right.
ones that do all the surveying and engineering and design of plans, and they get back to DOT with
Because
tax bills.
here's where the government tells you, you gotta let them do the job, and then after you give them the job, then they tell you, oh, we're gonna bid it out to people.
We don't outsource it. That's outsourced.
Instead of just letting us do it like we used to ourselves.
It's still a deal.
25%?
This increases our cost in this project, $1,468.
Yeah, just make real clear that it's not going up $13,493. That's just what it's going to. It's only an increase of about $1,000.
It's going from 12,000 to 13,493.
What a deal.
It's still a good deal.
Yeah.
So all in favor? Go ahead. And the second one is the same thing, approval to increase town match for Chillingham sidewalk projects to, our match to $21,635.80 from originally it was $18,714. So is there a motion for approval of that?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
And just for the record, what is the increase there?
$2,921.80.
Okay?
Any discussion? All in favor? And next item is the approval of road strip contract with the band Mustang Sally in the amount of $5,500. Is
So
there
moved.
Second.
any discussion?
Yeah. Kurt. This $5,500 band is gonna bring in some people in here, and this is, I know they look good. I looked at the website. Who is this Mustang Sally? I mean, what are they gonna, what kind of equity do you bring to the table?
You saw the video.
Yes, I do.
There you go. There's a lot of your equity. They're a band from Nashville, Tennessee. We actually got them for a much better rate than they asked for. And the amenities that go with it, we found a sponsor to handle those things like rooms and so on. So we feel we got very good value for the buck.
How many are they traveling with? You know?
How many do they travel with?
Yeah. 5 in the band, but I mean, how many are they traveling?
Well, there's 5. It's a 7-piece band, yeah.
7 piece, okay.
plus they got the road crew, and, you know, I'm sure they have, they're a higher level than what we've been dealing with, therefore the price is what it is. But in our, you know, in the overall revamping of the strut itself, we felt that this was a good mix for us to do, approach that genre of music, so to speak. So we feel it's good. We feel it's a good investment, but of course it's all up to you.
So they're gonna pack this, they're gonna pack the house on Friday night?
We hope so. We always hope so. You know, it'll be a step away from what we have been in the past, and that's what we're trying to do.
I like thinking outside the box, and we have a problem with that. Okay.
And the only question I would ask is, and I'm guessing we got a location, but are we gonna pay them before we get a location, or do we have a location, or,
Well, we do have a location, yes,
and where's that?
and we have presented everything to you with that at this point.
So does that mean we do have one, or we don't?
We do have a location.
And where's that?
Secret.
It's,
Oh,
no,
it's
it's not a secret, where you're in the location.
Oh. Okay.
You're in the location this time, that's Plan A. So, we have that worked out, the plan worked out, how to fit it into this location. And then we have a Plan B and Plan C too, so. But at this point, this would work. This ban would be for Plan A.
And
Plan
Plan
B
B
and Plan C too, so, yeah. What we're looking at is this ban, we like this ban, the commission, agreed that this would be a good group to bring to this event.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Next item is item J, appointments of council member to the Irmo Chamber Board. And Mr. Younger, you put that on there, I guess I'll let you start off.
Well, this is a seat that's available for anyone on council, and I would like to make the recommendation for Councilman Walker to serve as the board member.
Cool.
I believe it's for 1 year, it'd be 1 year as a non-voting position. Is that correct? So,
I would second that.
And y'all free to set these meetings, or?
Sounds like you drafted.
Sounds like I am, but y'all free to set these meetings, right?
And that would be for 1 year for when to win, I guess, what is this, May? When do y'all think the meeting?
July 1, well, this term will start July 1 and
Okay.
June 30th.
Okay.
That kind of runs along with our.
Or our budget.
All right. Any other recommendations or whatever? All in favor then of Councilman Walker as the board member for whatever, July 1st to June 30th of 2013?
Great.
Next item is presentation by citizens. And this is the time where anyone can speak to us about anything on the agenda or not on the agenda or anything they want to. There are 2 people signed up, and the first one is Mr. Pat Donlon.
I am Pat Donlon. I live in Courtyards, Richmond Courtyards. I'd like to speak to 2 things, the issue of the police and traffic control and the proposed ordinance on lawn care, whatever we want to call it. I like what the chief said. Yes, we can put up a stop sign, but we can't guarantee that people are going to stop there. We live, as I said, in Richmond. We cross Lake Murray Boulevard at the Walgreens. We wait for the light, and people coming off Nursery Road have actually blown the horn at us. Get out of the road, we're going. And I can't ask the police to be there every time I cross. So where am I going with this? Now, we're gonna take a police officer, I understand, we're gonna make him a code enforcement officer, and we're gonna make him make subjective decisions on what my yard should look like, or what my neighbor's yard should look like. I listened to the discussion on the 8-inch or 12-inch grass, and we came to a conclusion based on no fact or no reason. We just decided arbitrarily this is a good number. It brings to mind, one of my neighbors doesn't even have grass in her yard. She's got plants that are 30 inches high that she paid quite a bit of money for. Are we going to have the ordinance say, no, you can't have that because your plants can only be 12 inches high? That's ridiculous. And so we're going to write this ordinance, and it's fine to say, no, we wouldn't enforce that. We'd let her have her 30-inch. But I got a busybody on the street who's going to say that code enforcement officer is not doing his job. She's got plants 30 inches high. Some of the neighbors think that she's got a great yard, some think that she doesn't. Now we're gonna have a code enforcement officer, I guess with the wisdom of Solomon, that's gonna reach a decision on that. And then, if he comes to a conclusion that she shouldn't have that, we're gonna do to her what they did to the lady in Somerville. We're gonna put her in jail. I don't think jails are a place for ladies to have plants in their yard. My point is, this is a ridiculous ordinance. To hear a comment that we're going to keep property values up, why don't we just say we're only going to have millionaires live in Irmo? We'd have great properties. But we have a diverse population of poor people, old people, young people. When I was young, I lived in an apartment, and I didn't have much money. We took care of the yard as best we could. But it wasn't up to the standard of my yard today. I at least like the idea that we're going to offer people some relief. How we're going to do that, I don't know. I think if we're going to have a code enforcement officer, the least we should have is an ombudsman, I never could say that word, to say his decision is not reasonable. We're not going to take him into court and force him to get a lawyer and go through the motions and maybe put him in jail. There's got to be reason in it. And I hear comments, well, renters are the people that don't take care of their houses. It'd be a little hard to back up, I think. We mentioned homeowners. Why don't we talk about public buildings or public properties? I sent each of you an email today. Mostly I got back to your mailboxes were full, so you didn't get my email. But the only real infringement that I can find in this area is right down the street at the Irmo Elementary School. There's a hedge there that overgrows and closes the sidewalk off. When we moved here 3 summers ago, we couldn't walk through there in the middle of July. People had to get off the sidewalk and walk in the bike path. The traffic sign that says 35 miles an hour is covered with those bushes today.
Where is this?
At the Irmo School that faces on Lake Murray Boulevard.
The Lake Murray Boulevard Park?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we're going to put a homeowner in jail or fine them, why don't we do the same thing for the principal of that school? Or if Irmo Town doesn't maintain their things, then we can find areas that Irmo Town isn't up to speed on. Maybe we put the mayor in jail. I don't know. No, not the mayor. Let's pick one of the councilmen. But that's how ridiculous these things are. And
But you have to agree, though, we have to have something.
we got to have something.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree that my neighbor shouldn't have a still in his backyard. I can agree on that.
I agree you should.
Now, can he have a flagpole in his front yard? There are hundreds of cases right now before the court where homeowners are arguing that somebody can't have a flagpole.
Yeah.
Do we want that in Irmo? I don't think that's going to improve my home value. It might make the neighborhood not a nice place to live. I wasn't here, but I understand that the pictures were shown of properties that weren't up to snuff. One of them had a lawn chair in the front yard. That somebody thought that was an infringement on what should be maintained. I think it's great. I wish all my neighbors had a lawn chair in their front yard. The best neighborhoods I've lived in and over the years are where people talk to each other, not hiding in the backyard. So are we going to make an ordinance that forces them in the backyard? I don't think that would be very intelligent. As far as we're going to only penalize landlords, I'd like to propose, I think the speed limit on St. Andrews is 35 miles an hour. I'd like to say that any pickup truck that is over 5 years old has to adhere to that law. Anybody else can go whatever speed they want. Now, I don't know who that would affect, who's got a pickup truck over 5 years old.
I don't know.
But
You say I can't go over speed limit?
one of the things that never came out in this whole discussion is the Constitution. The Constitution of the United States very explicitly guarantees property rights. And what you people are suggesting is to walk on those rights. And I think you need to reconsider that. That's my say.
And the next one signed up is Alex Morales.
Mayor, can I approach you and give you some,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's talk about the founding document for a while, you allow me. The last time I came, you were so kind to allow me to talk about the Declaration of Independence and the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Rights given to us by God. Founding Father understood that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is something that no council, no government, no president can touch. He gave it to us and we have to protect them. And the first job of the council, president, legislator, mayor should be to protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's had changed because people like ACLU, for instance, that doesn't have a good standing, therefore they can preach what they're after, so they force their view in the population. I would like to take you to the first page. It said individual choices taking preeminence over liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And I got 4 examples there. And those examples are going to tell us how individual choices have eliminated liberty and pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness, I define it like a free will or something that you really want to do that now you cannot do because someone that have a different view don't want you to do it. Let's start with dislike public prayer. When the council prayed before the meeting. Love it. Thank you, man. But if ACLU were here, they probably would sue the council and try to eliminate that prayer. Now let's go and see what happened with the dislike on public prayer when it comes to liberty. Well, when it comes to liberty, the fact that now you cannot pray undermines freedom of religion. So we don't have freedom of religion in public school and in some public places. Also, what happened with pursuit of happiness? All the action that you take when you have liberty. Well, in public school, you graduate after 12 years of awesome and excited time, you cannot pray. So you see, we have to protect liberty. We have to protect the action that comes from those liberties. Now let's go to the second example. Dislike public smoking. I don't smoke. I don't like smoking. I bother by it. But if you like to smoke and you are away from me, you're welcome. Why? Because that undermines individual liberty. So I'd rather you being free to smoke in front of your yard or in a parking lot or in a park. Have that freedom because I know that along the way, someone's going to come with the idea to take one of the things that I like from me. Now, the person that likes to smoke said no longer can enjoy a cigarette even if nobody is bothered or affected. That's what happened in pursuit of happiness, right? Now, the other example I have is promote and force sexual lifestyle on the entire population. Any criticism of this like is a crime, hate speech, forced the education system to teach this lifestyle. Now, what happened with liberty? Undermine liberty of conscience and freedom of speech. Now, what happened with the pursuit of happiness or the action? I don't have any freedom. You can challenge other views, ideas, action. Therefore, society could be put under harmful, destructive ideas that I cannot oppose. The last one. Dislike public display of the Ten Commandments, Christmas music, decorations, messy lawns. Now, what happened with liberty there? Undermine personal liberty, free of expression. Now, what happened with the action? Affect you from telling others about your beliefs, celebrating festivity, and how you want to spend the free time and your money. Now, the other page, we have a lady that was jailed because she had a messy jar. Let's read a little bit about her, not too much, just a little bit. It said Linda Rockgrove sold her blood, sold scrap metal, and volunteered for medical experiments to have enough money to save her home from foreclosure. She paid off the bank in need of time, but lost her freedom in the process. The 53-year-old photographer spent the past 6 days locked up in the Charleston County Jail because she was too poor to maintain her home or pay the $485. In the article that you have with you, you're going to see that the sergeant that was assigned to the case went to her and talked to her. And of course, you have to understand that every person here is going to respond to a police in a different way. So she didn't open the door, even though the sergeant said that he came to help her, right? Now the story, after the 6 days she was released, and I like what Kathy Condon, counselor, said. The community came and helped her. The neighbors were complaining about she having shingles in front of the roof that she could not put up. She didn't have the money to do it, and a lot of stuff in front of the house, so the community came and helped her. Put the shingle for free and cleaned the front yard, which, by the way, I believe should be the first plan of action. Get the churches involved, get the volunteers involved, get the non-profit involved. They have an ordinance that the front line is volunteers, churches. If you have a messy lawn, we're going to send you the loving group of helpers to help you out. The last resort is the jail and all the other stuff that people disagree with. I do too. So the last thing I'm going to show, and I was hoping that Holy Chet Kennedy is not part of the Irmo area, and that's what I was told. That's why I brought it. You have some pictures of Kennedy sidewalk with width probably about 24 inches. There's one over there in the middle of the sidewalk that is a trip hazard. Now the city can get away with that, but the citizen won't be able to. Now you see the Kennedy going up the hill in the other page. You're going to see that you have about 2 feet, maybe less, of a space to walk without being hit by a car. And on the last page, you have a citizen walking all the way to the Kennedy Road. We have about 1.5 feet 2 feet space because the lawn is so high that he cannot walk. That to me, that's a real issue. The value of the house is not that big of a thing. I was told, love people, like things, use things. No, use people, love things. This is a real issue. Kennedy Road, there's people going up and down, and I don't know if it's under your Irmo town. I just pointing this out because we have to put our eyes where the problem is and not get distracted by other things. The problem of the lawn is a problem of community. Send it back where it belongs. If you, honorable council, take that call, you're going to do it on our expense of freedom. We're going to lose freedom. It's as he was saying, if someone comes and says, hey, you have to buy a new shingle, it's no different as Obamacare then. They forced me to buy health care for myself. It's just identical. So they're going to be forcing me to do this, spend money on this, on that. So please consider in this ordinance because it's going to be profound. It's going to be one of those things that start with the lawn, it moves to the Christmas decoration, and it has no end to it. Please consider. Thank you for this time, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. No one else has signed up, but there's anyone else to speak to town council on anything, whether it's on the agenda or
I
not?
just hope that Mr. Morales and Mr. Donald would all please rally your neighbors and come to the public hearing we're going to have on this issue.
Thank you, sir.
I really do want to get as much input as possible from the constituency because, as you heard, I have major heartburn with a section in this ordinance.
Thank you, sir.
But at the same time, I recognize that we have to do something. We have to have, the registration of the landlords is one issue, but then the enforcement of the getting your roof fixed or getting your lawn cut, that's another issue that we have to talk about. How do we incorporate that, and how do we be universal about that, not be one set of ordinances for one people, one set of ordinances for another set of people. But it's going to be tough. I really want to get. I need your input. I need your consultation.
There are ways, other than ordinances. There's all kinds of things we could do to give people incentive. Have a contest, who's got the best neighborhood. Give some minor prizes, if nothing else, to recognize them, Irmo strut and things like that. But they're positive. This is very negative. I'm going to take somebody and I'm going to put them in jail because they didn't do their lawn or because their eave spout is not tight. That's ridiculous. But instead of going the negative route, go positive. Don't have an ordinance. Make it a friendly thing. Publicize it. Get people involved. Get citizens involved. Who's got the best neighborhood? Who puts up the best Christmas lights? Things like that. It's a positive way to go. Thank you.
And executive session, unknown. Is there a motion then for adjournment?
Second.
All in favor?